Hello, Sonia here with your spiritual lesson of the week. So this week, I want to share some of my favorite tools with you on how to open your heart. And when I mean open your heart, it's a place where we drop out of our heads, out of our intellect, and into the space in which we can receive. You know, it's our open heart that receives not only our intuition, but really gets to connect with the goodness and feels the joy of the world. You know, if you've ever hung out with little kids, they have such open little hearts. They're just present and excited and available and interested and curious. And as we get older, we disconnect from our heart space. You know, the interesting thing that I've, learned from my mom and just in life is that we come in singing, dancing, available, these little babies who are so interested in the world. And then we end up developing this very protective shell. And in a lot of ways, that's our ego. And our ego serves a purpose. We don't want to kill our ego. We don't want to get rid of our ego, but we want to have a healthy ego, one that is in service to our intuition, that's in service to our intellect, and is also one that feels safe in the world. You know, if our egos feel defended or feel afraid, it rebuffs everything around us and shuts our hearts because it says, guess what? The world out there isn't safe. It's not safe. People aren't safe. But if we can be grounded in our bodies, grounded in the present moment, grounded in our own power, and open up that heart space, everything in our life shifts. And I had a client who I gave a reading to a few years ago, and she was like, nothing is working in my life. I want a partner. I can't find a partner. I feel all alone. And I keep trying. I'm reading all the books. I'm doing all the things, but nothing is working. But when I tuned into her energetic field, I felt that she wasn't in her heart space. She was totally in her head. And that in order to heal the connection with her heart space is where she had to start getting back grounded into her physicality as being a safe place. Because her head, our intellects, combined with our little egos, if we don't feel like we can have a safe, open heart, the world is lions and tigers and bears, oh my. And nowadays in the world that we live in and all of the information that we get, it really feels like that we are in danger. And as an evolutionary biological thing, what we do is we shut down that heart space to really create a filter between us and the world. So we need to have tools to start getting back grounded into our physicality and opening our hearts, because not only our hearts are where we receive, but it's where our intuition resides. It's where we get in touch with our purpose, with our passion, with what it is that we want to do. Living in our heads is not a fun place. So my sweet little client who was so mentally constipated in a way, we had to get her back into her heart space, but also to find grounded ways that she could feel safe doing that. So I'm going to share with you some of the tools that I gave to her. And so the first thing that I gave her, one of my first tools to help get back into that heart space is, first of all, of just starting to connect with your own spirit. And what I mean by that is when you wake up in the morning, a very simple tool to even start to connect with your own essence, in a sense, is just put one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly and just take a few deep breaths, and just even in feeling your heartbeat and feeling that space, and just call attention to your sweet spirit. And if you're somebody who has a real defended heart or and a lot of times that comes from a place of fear, another tool that I really love to use is name that part of yourself and tell that part of yourself, name your barking dog, as my mom, Sonia always says, that part of yourself that patrols the borders. Name your barking dog and tell them that it can relax, that your spirit is in charge, that you've got this, in a sense. And it helps to quiet that cacophony of noises so that you can be more aware and in touch with the subtle vibrations. Tool number one, connect with your spirit in the morning. Get good and it just a few deep breaths. It takes 1 second. Second tool to open your heart. One of my favorite tools, slow down. We live in a world that's in hyperspeed. You should see the different to-do lists that I have in and around my desk right now. We live in a world in which we are constantly being told to go faster and faster and faster and faster and faster. But when we're in that space of the to-do list and creating and being productive, it immediately pulls us out of our heart space because we're not present. You know, our ego lives in the past, it lives in the future, it lives in our to-do list. But if we start to slow down, starting to pay attention, and a really great way is to get grounded in the present moment is to name what it is that you see around you. When we can start to bring our attention to what's right in front of us and things that we have completely missed, it helps to bring us back into the present moment, which is where we can actually genuinely open our hearts. You know, the interesting thing is that our brains like to conserve energy. It's a biological function that we have. And so what we do is we end up not actually paying attention to what's around us. So even naming the things that are around you, what do you see? What do you feel? What do you smell? A great tool is if you're in a space that you're in all the time, notice something new. Like notice the wood grain on your coffee table, or notice where the paint chips, or if you have a partner, try and notice something about them. Noticing something about them that you haven't noticed before. Our heads get really sure that we got it, that I know. And what that does is that disconnects us from our intuition because it gets us in a place of not being present. In order to tune into our intuition, we have to be present in the moment and available, because intuition is a moment by moment by moment by moment process. And also in being present is where we can genuinely open our hearts and be available, because it's where we receive. And if we're in that mental space of doing, we're not in a space of receiving. Third tool that I love, maybe fourth, but third tool that I love, one of my favorites, is to be generous with people. And that doesn't necessarily mean monetarily being generous with people. That's one form of it. Sure, you can buy the person behind you in line a cup of coffee, but even just being generous with your time and attention. If you're checking out at the grocery store, maybe just ask the person how they're genuinely doing. Like, how are you? And see them, practice seeing them and being connected with them, seeing who they are. You know, a really great way to elevate this is a way to tune into your intuition and say, what kind of spirit are they? And make it a game. Like, I can see that this person is an earth spirit. Check out my earth by video, what kind of spirit are you video? Earth, air, fire, water spirit. But feel what kind of spirit they are. You know, and in that we can not only have a place of tuning into our intuition, but being a place of where we can actually practice empathy and connecting with people in a genuine way. You know, so often we aren't that checked in. We're really checked out. We're checked out of the people that are around us, and we're in this world instead of here. And as soon as we're here and practicing seeing people, it's a place that opens up our heart because we connect. We have something in our brains called mirror neurons. And that means that, like, for example, if somebody's really upset and how you can feel it in your own brain, we mirror each other. So be a good mirror. Be a good, wonderful, generous mirror. That's a great place to not only open your heart, but really also be a good fairy. My next tool, be a good fairy. This means, and one of my favorite ways to open my heart and practice is genuinely complimenting people. You know, for example, I was in New York with my mom and my sister, and there was a gentleman who was like the bellhop, and we were staying in a hotel that was, everybody could you could wear your own clothes. And there was this guy who just had like impeccable style, this amazing sweater, these cool necklaces, like the glasses. And I saw him, I came in, I saw him a few times, and every time I thought, God, you are a cool person. And so I went over and I was like, I love your style. And it was interesting because he just lit up. He lit up. And it made me feel happy because it was like, I see and appreciate you. Which also reminds me of another story. I was in Chicago and I was writing my book. I used to work at this coffee shop called Dark Matter. And on the second floor, there was this gentleman who had the best style I had ever seen. He was almost like a modern day Jimi Hendrix. He was just cool jackets and these incredible like beads and his dreadlocks and cool rings and everything. And I always, at first, I almost felt like I was a little intimidated. I was like, oh my God, he's like so cool. And then I went over and I was like, hey, I love your style. I just love you. You're a work of art of how you present yourself. And he was so pumped. And we became friends. He's a musician. He invited me to his shows. And it was a genuine connection to this day. His name is Devin. We are still good friends. And he is a fabulous artist. And it was not only a place of opening my heart, but of also practicing seeing him, but also a place of where I got surprised. He was my new friend to show up. You know, the thing too is that opening our heart and living in our heart space is a habit. It's a place that we have to practice and genuinely make a devotional practice to connect to. And then opening your heart can be in just little itty bitty ways. And the ways that we get defended or afraid or get in our head, you know, even of just taking a simple deep breath and getting back grounded into our own physical bodies. Because, you know, it's when we're in our heads, we get disconnected from our intuition, from the present moment, and from seeing other people. And it can be as simple as just that tool that I gave you in the very beginning that you can use at the beginning of your day or throughout your day. Put a hand on your heart, one on your belly, and just taking a few deep breaths and connecting to your own spirit and starting to just practice being present. It's a huge, super simple tool, but one that can change everything. And also, check out my website, soniatully.com or soniaandsabrina.com, and sign up for our newsletter. If you didn't receive this in our newsletter and saw it on my YouTube channel, Sonia Show Cat Tully over on YouTube. And also sign up for our, I have a free online course, an ebook at soniaandsabrina.com. Just as a way to help get your intuition going, get you going. And if you need support, book a soul reading with me. Let's get clear on what your soul purpose is, what's going on for you right now, and grounded solutions to help you move forward and getting out of being stuck. If your intuition is nudging you, I encourage you to act on it instead of continuing to think about it and staying in those patterns of being stuck. You can book a free 15-minute informational call where you can over on my site, soniatully.com, and just get a vibe of who I am. You can connect and see if working together will be a good fit. But no matter what, from my heart to yours, I am sending you all my love. Have a beautiful week, and I'll talk to you soon. See you next week. Bye.